New York's classic rock, Q1043.
I say bonjour to Florian Zeller, who is the director and co-screenwriter of one of the biggest movie nominees of the year, and we're not even into the Oscar nominations yet, The Father. All I have to tell you is who is starring, and you're going to want to see this. None other than Oscar winner Sir Anthony Hopkins, and also Oscar winner and the Crown favorite. Actually, she won the Oscar for the favorite, but she was the favorite on the Crown, and that would be Olivia Coleman. So, first of all, welcome, and congratulations! You're up for You're up for Golden Globes. You're up for SAG Awards. You're up for Broadcast Film Critics Association Awards. You're up for the AARP Awards. Not many people know that they even have awards, but they have awards for adult movies. And this is a movie that speaks to adults. It is what I loved about this. This is about Sir Anthony Hopkins plays a character named Anthony, who is around 80 years old, and he has dementia. And Olivia Coleman plays his daughter, Anne. What I loved about this movie, Florian, is that we saw this through his eyes. We see through the lens of someone who's losing their memory and who is confused. Tell us the history of this, because I know it started as a theater production and an award-winning one at that.
Yes, it's true that The Father was first a play that I wrote 8 years ago. And I guess at the very beginning, it was, I was trying to go through my own personal story, because I have been raised by my grandmother, and she was like my mother. I was living with her, and she started to suffer from dementia when I was 15. So I knew a bit what it was to go through this painful process, and, to find yourself in a position when you are impotent. You love someone, but love is not enough. But I also knew that it was not about me, it was not about my grandmother. I didn't write this to tell my own story, because everyone has a grandmother, or everyone has a father, and everyone has or will have to deal with this painful dilemma, which is, what do you do with the people you love when they are losing their bearings? And so it was really to share those emotions, because I really had this intuition that there is something cathartic about, sharing the emotion, and to remember that we are, in a way, we are all in the same boat. You see what I mean? There is a consolation, in my opinion, a real one and a beautiful one, to remember that we are part of something larger than ourselves. But it's true that at the very beginning of that film, my desire was to put the audience in a unique position, as if they were going through a labyrinth, as if they were like in the main character's head, questioning everything, trying to understand what is going on. And in a way, I wanted The Father to be not only a story, but an experience, an experience of what it could mean to lose your bearings. So it was a joyful process for us to imagine how to play with the disorientation of the audience, and to make them feel and experience this labyrinth.
The movie The Father is now open in theaters in New York and LA, and it's going to expand March 12th, and then it'll be on premium video on demand March 26th. So you have a long time to see this, and by the time it is on premium video on demand March 26th, it no doubt will be an Oscar nominee. I'm just so certain of it. Okay, you got two of the biggest stars on the planet. Yeah. You have never directed a feature film before. How did that work out that you landed Sir Anthony Hopkins and Olivia Coleman?
At the very beginning, it was a dream. And, when I wrote the script, I had Anthony Hopkins in mind. And that's the reason why I made the decision to do it in English, because as you can hear, I'm French and I cannot hide this. I'm sorry. But the decision to do it in English was not obvious to me. It was just because I really wanted to do it with Anthony Hopkins, because to me, he's the greatest living actor. He's a legend. And I had this conviction that he would be extraordinary in this part. But it was a dream, as I said. And you know, because it's my first feature film, I come from theater, but it's my first feature film, and he is Sir Anthony Hopkins. But my intuition was that until someone comes and proves you that it's not possible, it means that potentially it is. And you know, most of the time we are the one who close the door of what is possible and what is not possible. And this time I really wanted not to close that door and to believe in it and to try to follow my instinct. So I wrote the script with Christopher Hampton, and I sent it to his agent, and I waited a bit. And one day I received a call of someone letting me know that Anthony wanted to meet with me. So I took a plane to Los Angeles to have breakfast with him. And this is how it started.
What was that like when first meeting him? Well, tell us.
I was a bit intimidated, of course, and I didn't sleep that much the night before. But because the stakes couldn't be higher to me. But to tell you the truth, after 2 minutes, I knew that it would be almost easy to work with him, because he is so intelligent. But I knew that. He is so clever. I knew that. But what I didn't know is how humble he is. As an actor, to be humble means he's not here to serve himself. You know, he's here to serve the emotions you want to explore, the story you want to tell, and the vision you have as a director. He was amazingly generous, and he gave me the opportunity to make exactly the film I wanted to make. You know, the whole process, he was completely dedicated to the film. And in a way, even though they are so different, Olivia Coleman is a bit the same. She's extraordinarily generous, kind, and lovable. And you know, it makes things so easier to work with this kind of people. You know, there is no ego issue. It's all about the film. And it was such a joy and such a beautiful experience for all of us.
Oh, I can imagine. I'm speaking with Florian Zeller. He is the director and co-screenwriter of The Father, starring Sir Anthony Hopkins and Olivia Coleman, 2 Oscar winners. And it is open in New York and LA theaters now, and it will expand on March 12th and then go to available premium video on demand March 26th. And it's seen through the eyes of an older man who is suffering from dementia. We see him losing his memory, his confusion through his eyes. We're not looking at him. We're watching the world as he sees it. And one of the things I loved about your film are the subtleties that you pick up on, how the kitchen looks slightly different, the color will be different, or the clothes. And how did you decide to do that?
Actually, it was really part of the process of the adaptation, because it was a play, but what I didn't want to do is to film a play. It was not exciting enough. I wanted to do a film. I wanted to do what the cinema can do and what only the cinema can do. And so, you know, when you think about adapting a play into a film, the first ideas you have is always to write new scenes outdoor to make it more cinematic. But here I made the decision to stay in this apartment so that that space could become like a mental space and to use it in a very cinematic way. And so we shot the whole film in a studio, in a small studio in London, because as a director, you know, in a studio, you can do whatever you want. You can remove a wall, change the proportion, the colors, anytime. And so you have this apartment, you understand that this is Anthony's apartment, there is no doubt about it. And step by step, there are some small changes or small metamorphoses on set, so that you know where you are, but at the same time, you are disturbed because it's not exactly the same. And so it was a way for me to play with that feeling of disorientation and really to doubt about your own understanding of the situation, and to experience again what it could mean to be not to be certain anymore of what is real and what is not real.
Were you shocked at the critical acclaim, the award nominations? I mean, this is your first. This is your first. That doesn't happen all the time.
Yeah, I know that. I'm very aware. But you know, it's such a specific year to release your first film because you know, it's 2020 was so strange. So on the other hand, when you have this reception, it's such a joy and an honor. No, it was really joyful. But you know what I have seen shooting that film, it's something that was really special, because what Anthony did was not, it was really challenging for him in a way, because it was, I didn't come to him to ask him to do what he's known for. It was really about trying to explore a new emotional territory, you know, to go to that place so fragile and so vulnerable, that he had to, in a way, to go to that place, to use his own fears, to use his own, in a way, to feeling of mortality. And it was not that easy. And he's, in my opinion, he's so brave, because, you know, he's 83 and he's still this artist putting himself at risk and trying to do something as powerful as possible, you know, just to share those emotions as a real artist. So I didn't need, in a way, those nominations to be so happy and grateful to what happened on stage, because in a way, something special was already obvious to me, thanks to him. I mean,
I'm just wondering if you would want to turn tables again and bring this perhaps to Broadway when finally Broadway is able to reopen as a play.
the play was,
a play.
yeah, the play The Father was on stage in Broadway 4 or 5 years ago.
Oh,
and
okay.
So I guess that it won't be back so soon, but you never know. You never know.
When was this film completed?
And we shot the film in one. No, we showed the film for the very first time at Sundance last year.
Okay, so this was completed well before the pandemic.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Tell me how you've been handling the pandemic. How have you survived, and what sort of restrictions are you living under?
You know, as everyone, is a challenging time. I was, there's something about frustration when you have a film to be released, to, you know, to see that all the theater are closed. But we have to deal with reality, and to try to find ways to adapt ourselves and to keep hope and desire, which is challenging as well. And but I have this film that is about to release, and you know, to make a film is a sum of so much dreams and work, that it makes sense only when and only if there is a way to share that with the audience. And this is the only destination. So I'm still waiting for that moment to happen, in a way.
Mm. And how do you see cinema, movies changing moving forward? Because we've kind of gotten used to, as movie watchers, now watching from home. And you just wonder how many movies people are going to want to see in theaters, because frankly, it's just more convenient, easier, cheaper seeing it from home. How do you think that's going to change?
I think you're right. It's easier, cheaper, but I think this is not the same experience. I think that's great, especially during this moment, that some stories could be told still, and because we need that to be told, stories. But I profoundly believe that we will go back to theaters, and because this is such a special experience. What I love about it is when you go into a theater, you don't know anyone in the place, in the room. You share that moment. You share the room with people you do not know. They are strangers. But then you go through an emotional experience, and you realize that those people are not strangers anymore, because you have shared this emotional moment. So in a way, art is done for that, to make you remember that stranger is a word that means nothing.
The Father in theaters in New York now and expanding March 12th. Thank you so much, Florian Zeller. If you missed any part of this, download the iHeartRadio app. It is free. And just check out my podcast, Sonstein Sessions, and you could see the video of this chat, q1043.com.
New York's classic rock, Q1043.